This is the 2023 Brewtubers Online Brewers Club Yeast Experiment, British Brown Ale. Thanks to our sponsors: Imperial Yeast, 5 Star Chemicals, Yakima Valley Hops, Beer and Wine Hobby Homebrew Store, and Brewers Hardware. Let's get tasting.
Good evening once again, everyone. Kurt from Fermentations here, checking in with another beer for the Brewtubers Yeast Experiment for 2023, British Brown Ale. Today I'm going to be reviewing, or really tasting and giving some thoughts on Brewmaster Jerry's beer that he brewed for the experiment. Jerry's beer is right here, where the can is. It did get a little dinged up in transport, which is not uncommon. Brewmaster Jerry used Lallemand Windsor Yeast for this beer. The finishing ABV was 4.5% alcohol. So I don't know all of the ABVs of all the beers I've tried, but I think 4.5 is definitely on the lower end of the range of the beers that I have tried that have disclosed that. Mine was over 5. I know Matt from Wrecked, his ABV was in the 6 range. I'm pretty sure Sean's beer that I just tried from Brookside Brewing, his was north of 5 for sure as well. So let's check out Jerry's beer here. All right, let's see if I can pour on camera so we can get a sense that we can see this. All right, did get a little hiss when I poured it. All right, no carbonation is visible in the can. This can does feel fairly soft, so I'm going to be fairly aggressive pouring this out here. Yeah, because for right or wrong, I think Jerry's beer is a little undercarbed, certainly in regards to everyone else's beer. I can see here, again, the actual color of the beer itself, the very similar mid-range, brown color, not really on the dark brown, approaching black. Enough that it's probably, like a dark amber beer. I can see here if I put it up to the light, probably out of the camera range over here, my secondary camera. The foam I do see is very, it's a very loose bubble foam stand here. It is sticking around. It is the ivory to beige color that I've seen on most of these, or on all of the beers really. The heads look the same, which, considering it's all the same malt bill and the same proportions, shouldn't be terribly surprising. Let's see the clarity. Again, I can see my fingers poking through here. Again, I didn't dump the whole can in here, so if there's any settling, it shouldn't have went into the glass. Looks like I can see maybe a little bit of no, that's bubbles. But yeah, there is a slight haze to this. It's not the brilliant clarity that my beer had, or Billy Gamdude had for his beer. So again, if I put it side by side again here, right, you can see, oh yeah, Jerry called his the Windsor Brown Bomb. I believe he did have a pretty big blow off as well. Let's see a comment he has on here. Brown ale literally exploded. The airlock off. Hopefully it hasn't bombed out. So yeah, that's everything we have on here on Jerry's beer. So again, that's the appearance. We went through all of that. Again, his foam is sticking around. Let me smell. Okay. Yeah, again, this smells really similar to Sean's Brookside Brewing that I just tried. Again, the same descriptors, like the burnt or the browned sugar, if you're sort of browning the sugar, not to say like a sack of brown sugar. Again, some dark toast. I don't get any biscuit, don't smell any hops. I don't really I don't think I get any fermentation character in here. Let me try to, just simply because he doesn't have a lot of carbonation in this. Not in there, yeah. I'm gonna shake it up again. Yeah, again, very similar to Sean's, interestingly enough. All right, so let's try a sip here. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's really undercarbed. And unfortunately, kind of, even before I get into the flavor, it's, it does certainly, and again, I think probably it might be in style for the beer to be undercarb, or, that typical, 2, sub 2, what do we call the, if I look over on my carb chart, the volumes, in the 2 to sub 2. I mean, that's probably somewhat appropriate for the style to have it very lightly carbed. But unfortunately, it's kind of making the beer itself kind of a little flabby. Okay. Yeah, it's overall it's making the beer feel a little watery. Unfortunately, the lack of carbonation in here. The flavor profile as well. When I mentioned Sean's beer, I did I did get a little bit of what I was considering like an ethanol flavor poking through. In this, again, I don't get any of that. Because again, maybe it's, again, it's probably not a huge difference in ABV, but it's enough in the beer for it to really just not present at all. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of carbonation in the beer, and I don't want to keep harping on the carbonation, but, unfortunately, when I'm trying to taste it and trying to, swirl it around in my mouth and trying to get some of the flavor to come out more, it's just not really happening for me. But yeah, I'm getting some more of a little bit of hops in this is coming out, and again, probably because there's probably not so much of the the carbonation pushing the malt. I don't know, but I am getting a little bit of hoppy flavor in here. Probably more on the earthy range, interestingly enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, on the malt, for whatever reason, it feels like it's a little subdued, but, there is some toasty malt notes in here, some of the dark sugar. Yeah, again, the drying character, if I look down on the kind of the mouthfeel, the body itself, there's certainly no creaminess, because kind of I would say a lack of it seems like, again, I feel like I'm doing a poor job talking about this. I wouldn't say there's creaminess, because the beer unfortunately feels a little bit more aqueous or watery a little bit. Again, that could be going back to lack of carbonation, but it doesn't really feel like there's any of that. I don't get a lot of that creamy mouthfeel. There's definitely no astringency. We can wipe that out. We've talked ad nauseum about the carbonation. There's no warmth. The body itself is probably proper medium mouthfeel. And as far as kind of like any flaws, I don't get really any flaws from it. Excuse me. The yeast itself, I don't really get what I'm considering any presentation of the yeast esters. The maltiness is there, but yeah, there's nothing really super distinctive about it. It tastes pretty similar to a lot of the other beers I've tried, and there's really nothing that, at least the same, like the core flavors are the same as the rest of the beers, and nothing is really standing out, let's say. Unfortunately, except for it being fairly undercarbed, which again, I don't know if there was some sort of bad scene with the can or something, but and it was shipped around a couple times, but that's it. So again, if I rank the beers, again, I had Gamdude beer at number 1. I had my own in second. The third was Sean's beer. Then I would say Wrecked is number 4, and I'd put Jerry's number 5, simply because I think again, it just seems, even for a British style, it seems a little undercarbonated, and it kind of makes some of the flavors not really stand out too well, unfortunately. Again, and the yeast itself, the yeast is fine, but there's nothing really, none of the malt flavor was really popping or really present like I get from say Billy or Gamdude's beer. So there's kind of a notable difference from that. Okay, so again, thanks to our sponsors: Beer Wine Hobby, 5 Star Chemicals, Yakima Valley Hops, Imperial Yeast, and Brewers Hardware. Thanks to all of those sponsors for supporting the club. We all really appreciate it, and I certainly appreciate it as well. And please like the video if you think you got something from this. Subscribe to my channel. See if I can get a little bit of motivation here to post with more regularity. And I see you in the next one.